Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into something that could literally be hiding in your pocket change right now, the most valuable U.S. coins. Let's break down the top 4 coins, including their conditions, mint marks, and rare years, because that's where the real money is you should be looking for. The 1 dime, 5 cents, quarter dollar, and the legendary Washington quarter. And trust me, some of these are worth way more than their face value flush face. Let's get started first up the 1968 United States dime with a D mint mark struck in Denver. At first glance, it may seem like just another everyday coin, especially in circulated condition. But when you look closer at its history, production, and place in the collector market, you'll find there's more to it than meets the eye. In this video, we'll explore whether this coin holds any real rarity, how its condition affects value, and what collectors are actually paying for at auction today. The 1968 dime belongs to the Roosevelt Dime series, which began in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt. By 1965, the U.S. Mint had already removed silver from dimes due to rising metal costs, so the 1968 dime is composed of copper-nickel clad rather than precious metal. The D mint mark indicates it was produced at the Denver Mint, and 1968 was actually the first year mint marks reappeared on U.S. coins after being removed from 1965 through 1967. This detail makes 1968 D coins historically significant, even if they're not inherently rare. The 1968 D dime features Roosevelt's profile on the obverse and a torch flanked by olive and oak branches on the reverse, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. The mint mark D is located just above the date on the obverse side. In circulated condition, these coins often show wear on Roosevelt's hair, the cheek area, and the torch bands on the reverse. While the design itself is standard, collectors often look for coins with sharp details, minimal scratches, and strong luster item among circulated examples. Here's where expectations need to be grounded. The 1968 D dime is not considered rare in circulated or even lightly damaged condition. In fact, hundreds of millions were minted, over 480 million to be more precise. Because of this high mintage, coins that show heavy wear, scratches, or damage generally have very low collector demand. A damaged coin, such as one with bends, corrosion, or deep scratches, loses most of its appeal to serious collectors. Unless the coin has a rare error or unusual feature, it is typically valued only as face value or slightly above it in today's market, a standard 1968. D dime in circulated condition usually ranges from 10 cents to about 50 cents, depending on how worn it is. Coins in better circulated grades, those with more visible detail, may reach around $1. However, damaged examples often fall back to face value, which is just 10 cents. At auction, only high-grade uncirculated examples or coins with errors like double dies or off-center strikes attract notable prices, sometimes ranging from $10 to $50 or more. But for a typical circulated and damaged 1968 D dime, auction activity is minimal, and competitive bidding is rare. If you're collecting Roosevelt dimes, focus on condition and eye appeal rather than just a date and mint mark. Look for coins with minimal wear, strong details, and no major damage. It's also worth checking for mint errors, as these can significantly increase value even on common coins. Avoid spending too much on heavily damaged examples, unless they have a unique feature. Finally, consider building a full set of Roosevelt dimes in higher grades. This is where the real collector value and enjoyment often lie. The 1968 D dime is a great example of how not all old coins are rare or valuable, especially in circulated or damaged condition. While it holds historical interest as part of the first year mint marks returned, its high mintage keeps it common in today's market. For collectors, the key takeaway is to prioritize quality over quantity and to understand what truly drives value. Even a modest coin like this can still be a meaningful part of collection. It just won't likely make headlines at auction unless it's in exceptional condition or has a rare error. Next up, the 1912 United States 5-cent coin with a D mint mark, often referred to as the 1912 D Liberty head nickel. Even in fine or slightly damaged condition, this coin holds a special place among collectors due to its rarity, historical importance, and surprising value in today's auction market. If you've ever wondered whether an old nickel in your collection could be worth more than 5 cents, This is definitely a story you'll want to hear. The 1912 D Liberty Head nickel marks the end of an era. The Liberty Head, or V nickel, was minted from 1883 to 1912, and 1912 was its final year before being replaced by the Buffalo nickel in 1913. While most Liberty nickels were produced in Philadelphia without mint marks, the Denver Mint only struck this design in 1912, making the 1912 D the only Liberty Head nickel ever minted in Denver. This alone gives a unique status in U.S. coinage history. With a relatively low mintage of just over 8 million coins, it may not seem extremely rare at first glance, but when compared to other nickels of the era, it becomes much more desirable. The 1912 D nickel features a classic Liberty Head design created by Charles E. Barber. On the obverse, you'll find Lady Liberty facing left, wearing a coronet inscribed with the word Liberty. Surrounding her are 13 stars representing the original colonies. On the reverse, the Roman numeral V indicates the coin's denomination of 5 cents, encircled by a wreath. What makes this particular coin stand out is a small D mint mark located on the reverse, just to the left of the word cents. This tiny detail is critical. It distinguishes the coin from its more common Philadelphia counterpart and significantly impacts its value. Now here's where things get interesting. Even in fine condition, or what collectors might call circulated, or even slightly damaged, the 1912 D nickel remains in steady demand because it is a key date and the only Denver minted Liberty nickel. Collectors often seek it out to complete their sets. Coins in pristine condition are relatively scarce and expensive, which drives collectors with smaller budgets to pursue lower-grade examples. This means that even coins with visible wear, scratches, or minor damage can still attract attention in the market. While heavy damage can reduce value, the underlying rarity ensures the coin is rarely considered worthless. So, what is a 1912 D nickel worth today? In fine condition, meaning the major details are still visible but worn, the coin typically ranges from about $20 to $50 US. If the coin shows more wear or minor damage, such as scratches, discoloration, or slight bending, the value might drop slightly, often landing between $10 and $25 US. However, coins that are heavily damaged could fall closer to just a few dollars, though they still carry collectible appeal due to their historical significance. On the higher end, well-preserved examples in extremely fine or uncirculated condition can sell for several $100s or more at auction, depending on quality and certification. If you're interested in collecting or possibly selling a 1912 D nickel, there are a few important tips to keep in mind. First, always verify the mint mark. This is crucial for identifying the coin correctly. Second, avoid cleaning the coin, as cleaning can significantly reduce its value in the eyes of collectors. Third, consider having the coin graded by a professional service if you believe it's in better condition, as certification can increase buyer confidence in auction prices. Lastly, keep an eye on auction platforms and coin shows to get a sense of real-time market trends. In conclusion, the 1912 D Liberty Head nickel is a small coin with a big story. Its unique status as the only Denver minted Liberty nickel, combined with its historical significance and collector demand, makes it a standout piece, even in fine or slightly damaged condition. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, this coin serves as a reminder that rarity and history often matter just as much as condition. So next time you come across an old nickel, take a closer look. You might just be holding a valuable piece of the past. Next up, the 1988 the United States quarter dollar might look like an ordinary coin at first glance, but for collectors and enthusiasts, even a seemingly common coin can hold surprising value. In today's video, we're taking a closer look at the 1988 quarter with the Denver Mint mark, specifically in fine condition. We'll explore its history, what makes it stand out, how rarity plays a role even when the coin is damaged, and what kind of prices it can fetch in today's auction market. The 1988 quarter is part of the long-running Washington Quarter Series, which began in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday. By 1988, the design had become one of the most recognizable in American coinage. The obverse features a left-facing portrait of George Washington, while the reverse displays an eagle with outstretched wings. The D Mint mark indicates that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. In 1988, The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters, meaning these coins were widely circulated across the United States. At the time, they were intended purely for everyday transactions, not as collectibles. However, over time, collectors have revisited these coins with a more critical eye, especially when it comes to condition and rare variations. The 1988 D quarter is composed of copper-nickel clad, with a pure copper core and outer layers of cupronickel. It weighs approximately 5.67 grams and has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. While these specifications are standard, collectors often pay attention to strike quality, luster, and any minting anomalies. Coins in fine condition typically show moderate wear. The high points of Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers are often smoothed down, but the main design elements remain clear and readable. While this level of wear may reduce overall value compared to mint state coins, it still holds significance for collectors who seek complete sets. Occasionally, 1988 D quarters may feature minor errors, such as off-center strikes or die cracks. While these are not extremely common, they can significantly increase a coin's desirability if present at in general. The 1988 D quarter is not considered rare due to its high mintage. However, rarity becomes more nuanced when condition and specific collector demand are taken into account. Coins in fine condition are relatively common, but demand still exists among collectors looking to fill album slots without paying premium prices for uncirculated examples. Interestingly, even damaged coins can have a niche market. Coins that are heavily worn, scratched, or otherwise impaired typically carry little to no premium over face value. However, if a damaged coin also features a notable mint error or unique characteristic, it may still attract attention. Collectors often categorize condition carefully, and even a small difference in grading can influence perceived rarity. A coin graded as fine sits in a middle ground more desirable than heavily worn coins, but less scarce than high-grade examples as of today. A standard 1988 D quarter in fine condition typically ranges from about 25 cents to $1 in the general market. Most examples trade very close to face value due to their abundance. However, coins with better eye appeal within the fine category may sell for slightly higher prices. If the coin features a recognized error or is part of a certified collection, auction prices can increase significantly. Minor error coins might fetch between $5 and $20, while more dramatic and verified mint errors can command even higher bids depending on collector interest. It's important to note that auction prices fluctuate based on demand, timing, and the credibility of the grading. Coins sold through reputable auction houses or grading services often achieve higher values compared to informal sales. For collectors interested in the 1988 D quarter, there are a few key tips to keep in mind. First, always examine the coin carefully under good lighting to identify where damage or possible mint errors. Second, consider investing in a coin grading guide or consulting professional grading services for more valuable finds. Additionally, avoid cleaning coins, as this can reduce their value significantly. Even coins in fine condition can lose appeal if improperly handled. Storage is also important. Keeping coins in protective holders can help preserve their condition over time. Finally, stay informed about market trends. Coin values can shift depending on collector interest, and even common coins can experience temporary spikes in demand. The 1988 The United States quarter dollar may not be rare in the traditional sense, but it still offers an interesting glimpse into the world of coin collecting. In fine condition, it represents an affordable entry point for beginners while still holding potential for small premiums, especially when unique features or errors are involved. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, understanding coins like the 1988 D quarter helps build a stronger appreciation for the hobby. And who knows, the next time you check your spare change, you might spot something worth more than you expected. Next up, the 1967 Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, this coin might seem ordinary, especially since millions were produced. But when you look closer, particularly at examples without a mint mark and in fine condition, you start to uncover a story shaped by economic pressure, government decisions, and collector curiosity. In this video, we'll explore what makes the 1967 quarter unique, how rare it really is in worn or damaged states, and what kind of value it holds in today's auction market. The 1967 Washington quarter was minted during a turbulent time for U.S. coinage. In the mid-1960s, the United States faced a major coin shortage. Rising silver prices had led people to hoard older coins, especially those made before 1965, which contained 90% silver. To combat this, the U.S. Mint made a significant change. Starting in 1965, quarters were struck using a copper-nickel-clad composition instead of silver. Another unusual step the Mint took was removing mint marks entirely from coins produced between 1965 and 1967. This was done to discourage collectors from hoarding coins based on where they were minted. As a result, all 1967 quarters appear without a mint mark, regardless of whether they were produced in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. This decision makes the 1967 quarter historically interesting, even if it complicates identification. The 1967 Washington quarter retains a classic design created by John Flanagan. On the obverse, you'll see a left-facing profile of George Washington, along with the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date 1967. The reverse features a heraldic eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, with United States of America and quarter dollar surrounding it. What sets this coin apart isn't the design, but its composition and lack of a mint mark. The copper-nickel-clad structure gives a distinct layered edge, unlike the solid silver look of earlier quarters. Over time, coins in circulation developed where scratches and toning, especially those classified in fine condition. A fine condition coin typically shows moderate wear, with major details still visible but softened. Now here's where things get interesting. The 1967 quarter had a massive mintage. Over 1.5 billion coins were produced. That means, strictly speaking, it's not rare in the traditional sense. However, condition plays a huge role in numismatics that, i.e. fine, or even damaged condition. These coins are extremely common and generally not considered rare. Collectors typically seek high-grade, uncirculated examples, or coins with errors. That said, there is still a niche demand for circulated coins, especially among beginners or those assembling complete date sets on a budget. Damaged coins, those with heavy wear, scratches, or environmental damage, tend to have very little collector demand unless they feature a minting error. Without such an error, a damaged 1967 quarter is usually valued only for its face value. Still, some collectors appreciate them as historical artifacts from the coin shortage era. When it comes to market value, the 1967 Washington quarter in fine condition typically falls into a modest price range. Most examples in fine condition are worth about 25 cents to $1, depending on eye appeal. Coins that are heavily worn or damaged generally stay at face value 25 cents. However, if a 1967 quarter is in uncirculated condition, values can rise to $2 to $5, and even higher for coins graded by professional services. Special cases, such as coins with minting errors like double dies or off-center strikes, can fetch anywhere from $10 to over $100 at auction, depending on the severity and uniqueness of the error.so. While the standard 1967 quarter isn't a jackpot coin, there are exceptions that can make it surprisingly valuable. If you're collecting 1967 quarters, the key is to focus on condition and anomalies. Look for coins with minimal wear, strong details, and clean surfaces. Even though mint marks are absent, you can still find value in coins with unusual characteristics, such as striking errors or unique toning. Avoid heavily damaged coins unless you're collecting purely for historical interest. If you believe you found a high-quality or unusual example, consider having it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Proper storage is also important. Keep coins in holders or albums to prevent further wear and corrosion. Finally, don't overlook the educational value. Coins like the 1967 quarter tell a story about economic challenges and government intervention, making them meaningful beyond their monetary worth. The 1967 Washington quarter, without a mint mark, is a product of a unique moment in American history. While it's not rare in fine or damaged condition, it still holds value as a collectible and historical artifact. Most examples won't bring in more than $1, but exceptional coins or error varieties can command higher prices at auction. For collectors, this coin serves as a reminder that rarity isn't just about numbers. It's about condition, context, and the story behind the metal. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just starting out, the 1967 quarter is a small but meaningful piece of the larger puzzle that is U.S. coin collecting. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1967 Washington quarter, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. Got questions or coins you want us to review? Drop them in the comments below.